Alright, what up, y'all? What up, y'all? I know it's Mother's Day weekend or whatever, so I said I'm gonna come holler at y'all the day before the official Mother's Day, cause I know your girls are gonna be like, this all supposed to be my time and all this, my time. You got your time, mamas. I appreciate my mama. Dropped her stuff off today. Was trying to surprise her, but she beat me to the house, so you hear me? I couldn't. I was trying to put the shit in there, so when she walked in, she'd have been like, well, oh Lord, but so I just had to give it to her in her hand or whatever like that. But it's not what I came here to talk about. Today, I came here to talk about what me and my homie was talking about yesterday. And yesterday we was talking about statistics and shit. Cause he was telling me he had just came in town or whatever, so we riding yesterday or whatever. And he was telling me that he saw that our murder rate, like in New Orleans, like we I think we ranked number 2 or number 3 or whatever like that, right? And he was like, we past Chicago now, and I was like, God damn. Cause if anybody remember, New Orleans used to be like number 1, number 2, right? And then it went down, and then Chicago was up there like number 1, number 2 or some shit, right? And so I was telling him, like, Chicago is going through what we, like I was saying before I rudely interrupted. Me and my partner was talking about how I see New Orleans going back up and Chicago kind of going simmering down, right? So I was telling them it's like they going through that shit we went through when nigga was whacking shit back and forth, left and right, you hear me? And everybody started, oh Lord, we gotta stop this. All the mama was crying and saying like, we gotta stop all the violence and all that type of stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? And as the generation get older, they start realizing, man, we tripping. We gotta chill out. You know what I'm saying? And like, cause that's what happened down here in New Orleans. Like, they were like, motherfuckers were whacking shit left and right every day. It was a murder, at least one. Somebody like had to get killed down here, like every day, right? And so it's like it was an outrage. Everybody was crying like, man, this shit gotta stop. And so how it been in Chicago, I'm like, that's what happened out there. All the mamas and stuff crying, and they like, man, this stuff gotta stop. All them dudes getting older, so they starting to mature, and they starting to see like, this shit going too far. But now down here, all these young dudes that came up under us, they wild now, and they doing all the killing. So it's like it's back up. It's gonna be like that with every generation. You know what I'm saying? But as the generation, it's like they seem like they worse than what we was or whatever. But when I told them, man, sit back and think about it, shit, they just like us. We was worse too. We was doing everything, and then you be getting away with this shit, so you be feeling like I'm gonna do this shit forever until you start getting older and you realize, man, nah, this ain't the way. If you make it, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause everybody not blessed to make it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody just not. Either you gonna get all that time or you gonna die, and that's just what it is. Like, you gotta face the facts. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause people used to try to tell us when we was young, like, man, y'all gotta slow down, y'all gotta chill out, get out these streets and all that type of stuff like that. And nobody won't hear that. Man, I'll be goddamn, dog. Come on, man, get a nigga away. Fuck, I don't give a fuck who it is, man. The fuck out of nigga way, pull to the side or something, man. Man, get your stupid ass on, man. Fuck, dummy. You want to sit there. But it's gonna be like that with every generation. As the youngins come up and they seeing, they saw us when we was young. Like, they was coming up under us when they was 5, 6 years old and shit like that. They coming up under us, seeing us keeping them guns and all that shit. They seeing shootouts and all that shit. And certain people's brain, it really seemed exciting and shit like that. And so as they getting older and older, they listening, they sitting around they watching, you know what I'm saying, and they repeating the things that they saw. But what make the generation worse than it was before is because they don't have no understanding of why we did the things we do. So all they know is I seen them handle their problem like that, so they just go head first and they just shooting shit. They don't even know why. It don't even be over money or nothing. They could just be over a dirty look, and they like, well, shit. When I saw them had a problem with somebody, they shot them. So shit, you looking at me crazy? Pow, kill a nigga, right? Like a lot of these murders out here, it's not over nothing serious. It's not over nothing like we used to beef over and shit. Like we'll beef over shit like you on this block. Listen, this where we get our money. You get the fuck from around here. You not from around here, right? And a nigga be like, I ain't going nowhere. Like if you see you ain't going nowhere, we gonna show you. And we have a walk, and we go to walk for real. Like you know what I'm saying? These days, it ain't really about no money and shit. It just be about foolishness. It could be about girls and shit. And then, like I said, as I'm saying that, I can think back when we was coming up over girls and shit, dog. Like I didn't have a situation over, even though I wasn't trying to go at a nigga over a girl. Nigga was coming at me over a girl. So either way it go, the situation was over a girl. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell y'all that story about that. Cause I ended up going to jail behind the shit when a nigga was threatening me over a girl and shit like this. I'm gonna tell y'all that story or whatever. But I just want people to understand that the generation, like each generation is like it's not gonna get better, it's gonna get worse. You know what I'm saying? Especially if people don't, these young dudes and young girls don't open their ears and listen. You know what I'm saying? If people can't listen and get to understand, it's only gonna get worse before it get better. You know what I'm saying? Because the discipline, like back then, you know what I'm saying? Moms whip ass back then. You know what I'm saying? Mama whipping ass, daddy whipping ass. If you got a daddy, they disciplining you. You don't do this, you don't do that, and shit like that, right? These days, mamas be quick to, oh, don't tell my child that. My child can do whatever and all this. You don't want nobody to tell your child nothing, and then once the shit backfire on them and they bad as fucking, you can't tell them nothing. Nah, they sitting there saying, oh, kid, you gotta get him, or you gotta get her. She is out of control, and like, you made that monster. Now you deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And people will be saying like, well, you can't just do that, but what else a nigga supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? When a nigga trying to raise their child and discipline their child and have respect and all that type of shit, and you got a woman saying, don't tell my child that. My baby can do whatever. Oh, don't be so mean. Oh, don't hit that child. Oh, don't holler. You don't fuss and all that shit. So you like, oh, so you saying I'm just supposed to let this motherfucker run wild and just do what they want to? Because when you let a child do what they want to, they growing up thinking in life they don't have no consequences to their actions. You know what I'm saying? And when that white boy get his hand on your child and have him locked behind that motherfucking wall, then guess what? They in for a rude fucking awakening. I'm talking about a rude awakening. Because that fucking white boy and his other team, they gonna put their foot all off in your child's ass if they don't be and killed them. You know what I'm saying? If they don't make it to get their day in court, they gonna kill them dead in the street, all because they fuck off. You can't tell me nothing and all this shit. They got rules. You gotta follow them rules. When you break them rules, they got consequences. And like that's what's going on with this generation. Like when I was younger, I couldn't do half the shit I was doing staying with my mama. I had to get the fuck out of the house. Like I left my mama's house at 16. You hear me? Really 15, but I went back and then I left for good at 16. You know what I'm saying? Because she wasn't letting that shit fly. You can't be doing, I couldn't have no guns and all that shit. Like when she found them guns in her house and all that shit, and she found them drugs, it was over with. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I had enough respect for my mama to say, you know what, look, I ain't about to stop doing what I'm doing, so you know what, I'm gonna leave this house. Because even though you know, I was young, I had an understanding that me being into what I'm being into, I wouldn't want to involve my mama with that shit. So, and how you involve your mama is because you be into what you be into, and now you got a nigga want to get at you, and this way you living at, this way you lay your head, so what else they gonna come? You know what I'm saying? They coming where you lay your head, and your mama lay her head there, and her husband, and the rest of your family, and they innocent to that shit. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's like all that shit is just not the same these days. You know what I'm saying? Like, these little dudes don't have no respect, you know what I'm saying, for nothing to nobody. And as I'm saying that, I remember that was a motto that we used to preach, because that's how my brother taught me. He taught me, like, you don't respect nothing out here. Don't respect nothing. Fuck everybody. If they ain't rolling with us, fuck them, you know? And as he got older, he came back. That's why I always tell him, boy, you a real nigga for that shit, because you really taught a nigga what you thought was right. But when you found out when you realized you was wrong, you came back and let us know I was wrong. You supposed to respect people. Respect take you a long way and shit like that, right? And I really appreciated him for that, because you think you'll be like, man, you taught me wrong and all that shit, but like I said, he taught us what he thought was the right way. And when he realized it was wrong, he quickly came back into it, man, that's the wrong way to go. You gotta respect people, you're gonna last longer. And I kinda attribute that to why I'm still here today. You know what I'm saying? Respecting people, having respect. You respect me, I respect you. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't gonna hold y'all too long though, cause I feel like I'm rambling or whatever. But just something to think about, y'all. Next time I come back, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna tell y'all that story about how I got locked up during the concert, the Stop the Violence concert, when the arena first opened up over this girl. You hear me? Culture.